Good evening! This is Sam from the... I guess today I'm from the Valentino Arrhenius channel. On another... Well... It's quite a windy day today. In fact, as I was driving to church this morning, my vehicle was being pushed all over the road. And when I got home, there was like 15 or 20 sticks on the road that weren't there before, and you know, I don't know. But I mean, I can't complain. The weather is getting really, really nice. It really is. And, well, today I got something slightly special for you. Today we got a 1988 Lincoln Continental Mark VII. Now, I'll tell you the story of how I got this car. So, when I was in 6th grade, that was about 6 years ago now, my grandmother gifted me the Lincoln Town Car right over there. You can see that right there. Yeah, that was a gift from my grandmother. It used to be my grandfather's, but he passed away in 2003, which was about 4 years before I was born. But anyway, that's not part of the story. So, that town car over there is a 1984. And 1984 was a special year for the Mark VII, because that was the first year the Mark VII was made. Now, when I was gifted the town car, before that, I was never really a Ford guy. I was sort of a Chevy guy, because that's what my father is. But you know, I did do a good bit of research on Ford, because, you know, I was fascinated by it. And, you know, I now owned a Ford. It's technically a Lincoln, but it's a Ford. Now, where was I? What was I gonna say? And I got really interested in the 1984 Lincoln lineup, which was the town car, the Continental, and the Continental Mark VII. Now, I've been looking for Mark VIIs for a while now, and this year was the first year I was able to actually afford to buy one. And I picked this one up in Connecticut for $6,000, which I thought was a decent price. I mean, most of them went for like 12 or 13,000, and well, I thought to myself, well, I can't turn this down. I just can't. So, me and my father drove up to Connecticut, and I ended up buying it. Now, it's not an 84, which I wanted to get an 84, but I could not find one for an affordable price. Now, the reason I bought the Mark VII is because I want to collect the Mark series. So that goes from the Mark III from 1969 all the way to the Mark VIII that ended in the 90s sometime. I'm not exactly sure when. But this Mark VII I found for a decent price, and I bought it. Now, let me tell you about the asshole that I bought it off of. What a fucking shyster. Now, I'll describe to you what he looked like, and you'll know what kind of a shyster this bastard was. Now, he was heavily overweight, probably like 350 pounds or something. Now, I'm not criticizing him for his weight, because I'm certainly not the skinniest person in the world either. However, I bring up his weight because he also wore a greasy shirt. And he had like a really patchy beard, and his eyes looked sick. But he was really confident, and that made me question him. Now, in reality, I shouldn't have bought this car, and I'll tell you why. It didn't have a title. Now, I can already hear you typing in the comments, Sam, you are such a goddamn idiot. And I know, I am a pretty big idiot. But the only reason I'm actually filming this video is because the state of Pennsylvania finally issued a title for it, which that means I can actually start putting things into motion and getting it to be a somewhat nice vehicle. Now I'm just gonna stop here for a moment. I do have a little fuzzy pom-pom over my microphone for the wind, but I don't know if it's actually working, so if there's a lot of wind right now, I apologize. Now, let's get back to the story. There's actually a good deal wrong with this vehicle, and like I said, I should not have bought it. Now, let's hold on for a moment. I'm gonna turn on autofocus and see what happens. I guess it's already fairly focused, so where was I? So, you can see right there, there's two fog lights. Now, those fog lights underneath the covers are completely shattered. Completely shattered. I should have looked at them before I bought it. And the man, I don't remember what his name is, but I'll tell you what he didn't do. He didn't clean this car before he sold it. I tell you, it's fairly nasty inside of it. So, luckily I got the title, so that means I can set things in motion and I can take it to go get detailed and shit. So, that's not too big of a concern right now. Now, the exhaust, that shit was slapped together. That was slapped together without a second thought. And I tell you, it is loud. Overbearingly loud. The loudness of the exhaust and the speed of the car do not correlate. Now, this is the LSC model, which stands for Luxury Sports Coupe, and you know, it's a fairly sporty car for 1988. It's the same. It's the Fox platform, that's the same platform, of course, as the Fox Body Mustang. And I tell you, my Toyota RAV4 is sportier than this car. Yeah, yep. The Toyota RAV4 is sportier than a sports car. Now, Lincoln made this car to compete with Mercedes and BMW. Because at the time, they began the luxury sports car market. And you know, Cadillac and Imperial, I don't even know if Imperial was still around at this time, but the American luxury market was not caught up with the European market, which was making some fairly good cars that were pretty fast. And they made this car to try to compete with that. Now, did they compete with this? Fuck no. They did not. They sort of made their own market that was like just for this vehicle. And now that's not to say it's a bad car. It's actually a really good car. But I'm getting... I don't really know where I was going with that. I'm sort of just rambling. So I need to keep talking about this. Well, here's what I'll do. The man that I bought it off of, as I said, was a fucking shyster. Which, if you don't know what that means, it means he's a fucking asshole that wants to scam you. Now, I'm gonna get the keys. Oh, and this man also didn't know shit about what he was talking about. I'll get the keys out and I'll show you inside the trunk. Now, let me zoom out here. These tires in here, they are cheap. The video cut off and I don't know where, so I'm just gonna start talking about the tires. These tires in here are cheap tires from China. The guy said that he bought them for $80 a piece. And they are not good tires really at all. And I'm not going to talk about the tires much else. He gave me a bunch of parts that I'm probably never going to use, because I sort of like to keep things original. Look, let's look over here. We got a donut tire. That seems pretty good. But other than that, I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this video. I mean, I don't really plan out my videos, as I'm sure you can tell. So, yeah. Now, if you know anything about Lincoln, I'm sure you've seen this before. But we're gonna take a look at this right here. A soft closed trunk. That's a pretty nice thing to have. I mean, it's not by no means necessary, but it's certainly nice. So, where was I? I think I was talking about the exhaust. The exhaust. If I had a lift, I'd show it to you, but I don't have a lift. Now, the exhaust was thrown together. It doesn't have any mufflers, so I mean that's illegal right there. And it's super loud, and the exhaust system, what little there is, it ends right underneath of where you sit. So it is super loud in there, and it's not great. I mean, I had to drive it from the east side of Connecticut all the way to Binghamton, which is a far drive, like 5 hours. And yeah, I was my ears were tired after that drive. It wasn't a very enjoyable drive, and I'll tell you this, the seats in there, way past their prime, so I'm gonna have to reupholster those. And it has a special JBL sound system in there that came from it is factory, but the head unit for the radio does not work, so that's not nice. That isn't really nice. So I don't know, I guess I'll start it up for you. I'll start it up. I don't know. I would lean my camera up against a tree, but there's not really a good place to do that. I don't know. Maybe I can just stick it in the ground. No, that's not going to work well. If you can't tell, I'm rather new to filming stuff. I'm not that good at it. So, yeah, I'll start it up now. Just give me a moment. I need to put away my monopod that I have my camera on. I'll just... Oh! And get this, I don't know if I've already gone over this, but this window right here won't shut. So that means I have to leave the good Lincoln outside, and I don't really like that. Oh. Let me just start it. I mean, it's not super loud right now, but it will be once I'm inside and driving. So well, I guess I'll get in and I'll start driving. I do need to detail this vehicle. It is pretty nasty in here, so yeah, and it's not easy to get in here, so looks like the battery on my camera is getting close to dying. So we got the shifter knob here. There's the radio. That doesn't work, but the climate control is pretty good, and the battery was unplugged, so that time's not right, but oh well. Oh well. Then we got the temperature, that's not right, and the direction. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a short drive. If the camera cuts out, it's because the battery is dead, and yeah, I'm not gonna restart the video when the camera dies, so be prepared for that. Alright, let's get going now. And another thing I don't really like about this car is that the knob for the window is right there, which is silly. So, let me get... Just gonna put my camera down here for a moment so you can't see my address. This is a business address. It's not my house address. It's not a super fast 0 to 60, but it gets the job done. What was that? Probably 8 seconds? 9? I don't know. I'm just gonna hold the camera and drive. Now I believe this has like a 20 or a 22 gallon fuel tank. I'm not entirely sure which, but it's like 500 miles. Or no, not 500 miles. That's a bit ridiculous. No. It's like 300 miles from Binghamton to the east side of Connecticut, which is where I got this from, and I made it from there to here and on 1 gallon of, or 1 tank of fuel. Now I'll tell you something else. When I got this, it had air ride suspension, which is 36 years old roughly. So as I was driving home, the air ride went out, which is annoying. So about half of the ride home was incredibly uncomfortable. I mean, the vehicle was at an angle coming home because of the air ride. The left front tire just completely, well, the left front suspension was completely blown, so that was nice. So I took it to the shop, and they said that replacing the air ride suspension would have been just as much as I had bought the car for, which, for my birthday, my dad offered to pay for the suspension, which is nice, but even he wasn't going to pay that much for the suspension, so we just converted it to normal suspension and not air ride, and it still rides pretty well. It's not rough or anything. Overall, it really is a good car. It really is good. It's just there's just a few things that need to be fixed, and I'm gonna fix them. So yeah. Speed limit's 40. I'm going about 50 right now, but that's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna turn around up here in a little bit, and I'll end the video there. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. It boosts engagement, or so I've heard. I don't understand how any of that YouTube stuff works. You know, I probably should have said that in the beginning of the video, but hey, what do I know? Not much. I might get